2013-300, State of Arkansas versus Trevor Clay Thompson. Thompson, you're appearing at this time for purposes of changing your plea on the charges against you. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And this change of plea is brought about by an agreement that's been worked out for you by your attorney, Mr. Cooper. Is that also correct?
Yes, sir.
Have you discussed the terms of the agreement and the penalty you're to receive with Mr. Cooper?
Yes, sir.
And do you feel you understand both of those?
Yes, sir.
Are you satisfied with the advice and the representation Mr. Cooper's provided you?
Yes, sir.
On the charges of theft by receiving a Class D felony, unlawful use of a communication device, a Class C felony, and mutilation of serial number, an unclassified felony, how do you now plead?
Guilty.
You're entering this plea of guilty pursuant to the agreement we've been discussing, and that agreement is contained in writing in the document I'm holding up called a plea statement. Have you read through this plea statement?
Yes, sir.
Do you feel you understand what's contained in this plea statement?
Yes, sir.
You then understand the nature of the charges against you and the full range of penalties you're facing?
Yes, sir.
You understand that by pleading guilty, you're giving up certain constitutional rights that you have?
Yes, sir.
Those rights include the right to a trial by jury. They include the right to be represented by an attorney and have the assistance of that attorney at trial. They include the right to confront the witnesses that would appear and testify against you at trial. And they include the right to appeal. Do you understand these rights?
Yes, sir.
And understanding these rights, are you still willing to enter this plea of guilty?
Yes, sir.
Are you pleading guilty here today freely and voluntarily?
Yes, sir.
Has anybody in any form or fashion forced you into entering this plea?
No, sir.
As you enter this plea here today, you acknowledge the truth of the charges against you.
Yes, sir.
You acknowledge that back on or about the 13th day of November 2013, here in apparently in Gassville and around Gassville, but certainly here in Baxter County, you had in your possession property that you knew was stolen or had reason to know was stolen.
Yes, sir.
You acknowledge, and the value of that property was in excess of $1,000.
Yes, sir.
You acknowledge also that you used a communication device for the purpose of arranging drug transactions?
Yes, sir. It's not drugs.
Sale of the property?
It was yes, sir.
Okay. That was on or about the same time frame?
Yes, sir.
And then apparently the item of property was a motorcycle, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And it had its serial number mutilated?
Yes, sir.
Based on those statements, the court at this time will accept the defendant's plea of guilty, finding the defendant has freely and voluntarily entered a plea of guilty, done so after consulting with an attorney, and has acknowledged the facts that constitute the crime. On that basis, having accepted the defendant's plea of guilty, the court will find the defendant guilty of theft by receiving a Class D felony, unlawful use of a communication device, a Class C felony, and mutilation of a serial number, an unclassified felony. Excuse me. On those three charges, having found the defendant guilty, the court will sentence the defendant in accordance with the agreement that's been reached in this case to 5 years in the Arkansas Department of Corrections on theft by receiving, 5 years in the Arkansas Department of Corrections on use of a communication device, and on mutilation of a serial number to 90 days in the Baxter County Detention Center. All of those sentences will run concurrent with each other and will be concurrent with the sentence previously imposed in a Missouri case. The court is also imposing a $200 in court costs, a fine of $1,000, a public defender user fee of $50, a public defender fee of $150, the statutory DNA fine of $250, restitution in the amount of $2,000, a booking administration fee of $20. All of those amounts will be due and payable as a term and condition of the defendant's parole once he's released from the Department of Corrections, and it will be due and payable at a minimum rate of $100 per month, beginning within 60 days of his release from the Department of Corrections. That will be the order of the court. The defendant is remanded into the custody of the Baxter County Sheriff's Office to begin serving his sentence and to await transportation to the Department of Corrections. You may be excused at this time.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Court will call State of Arkansas versus Peter Thompson. Is it Thompson with a P or Thompson? So he's never been arraigned on the original charge. All right. So all the period from when he failed to appear on the 2nd of January until today's date will be an excluded period.
No objection, Your Honor. Your Honor, I think we've reached.
Well, he appeared before Judge Putman on the 23rd. I see. Okay, so the period of delay would then, that was excluded, would be from the 2nd of January until the 22nd of January when he was rearrested.
Your Honor, this is a matter that if he can be brought back over for the afternoon session, Mr. Kincaid and I have reached a plea agreement which Mr. Thompson has agreed to accept.
All right. We'll just bring him back in the afternoon.